Hello, everybody. Welcome to Telling Tales. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for Symbaroum, our big ongoing flagship campaign thing. Dark fantasy from the lovely people at Free League. Yeah, hi, welcome. We're playing Wrath of the Warden, the first part of Throne of Thorns. And as usual, before I get on with more my promo-y stuff, let's welcome on board our regular stream manager, John. Hi, John. Hello.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I ate too many M&Ms and now I feel vaguely sick. So,
Oh no. I suppose we'll have to give up the, M&M sponsorship.
mm,
Yeah,
oh, that's
terrible.
not going to make me stop.
Oh, well, that's fine then. That's fine. So John will be tinkering around in the backdrop of the stream with cams and art and rule questions and chat and all that good stuff. So don't worry if he pops up. It just means something's gone horribly wrong. Promo time. Promo time. There's a bunch of links down below. There's links to Twitch and to YouTube. You're watching on one. Please do check out the other. Our Twitch is where all this happens live, and our YouTube are where all our VODs are stored. There is now hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands of hours at this point of role-playing content. So please go look there if you're enjoying this. There'll undoubtedly be some stuff over there for you to watch. There's links to our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all that wonderful stuff. Links to our Discord, where you can join up and talk to us about all things role-playing. Links to our Patreon, where we offer stuff in return for your wonderful support. And speaking of support, we've already had a couple of subscription re-ups tonight. Thank you to John Dezuch. I know who that is. And thank you to Painful DM as well. We really appreciate subscription support. So, what's my other promo? Oh, yeah. The stuff we run, that would be helpful. We run 3 weekly shows here on Twitch. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu, Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark, and Wednesdays Symbaroum. They all start at 8 o'clock p.m. BST, although Call of Cthulhu will be wrapping up next week, having a big old conclusion-y episode, I believe, as far as I'm aware. So stay tuned for what will follow that. We also run monthly one-shots on the first Saturday of every month, and the next one of those is this Saturday. And our very own Steo, Chris, will be guiding us through Wanderhome, which is a wonderful pastoral fantasy role-playing game featuring talking animals and wholesomeness and imaginative witterings and all sorts of stuff. I'll be playing that as well alongside Holly and Sky. So tune in this Saturday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon BST, or at your time in your own time zone, and enjoy. Yes. There we go. That'll do. Let's bring on the players and start doing the recaps. First up, let's bring on Chris, our guide on Saturday and player of Steo. Former city guard, now turned curmudgeonly mercenary. Chris, where did we pick up last week?
So I think we started in the archives, which is also like the part of the recap I did last week. So I'm getting slight deja vu. But this time we got results. So we had asked for various bits and pieces. We wanted to know the key that fit the lock, and we're going to have to speak to the legate to get anywhere close to that. But we'd started to do a search for the name of our deceased informant. I wish I had prepared this.
Anadea.
Anadea. It is right in front of me. It's actually not. That's terrifying. There it is. Anadea. And after some searching, so first off, what we know about her was that she was somehow in league with forces that were aware of the sinkhole situation and wound up dead under the sinkhole, but gave us offers of wealth if we would help her, and then obviously died. And turns out she was a lapsed priest of some description.
Yeah, and, former initiate of the Sun Temple.
And then we finally got to find a hit on our searching of these analog archives that she was involved in a squabble with another priest in the much maligned salons of Symbaroum quite some time ago, where there were various things said, but the real kickoff was death to the first theurg, I think was what was mentioned.
The first father of the first Sun Temple, yeah.
And that kind of caused this kickoff. But we got this from a witness statement, which mentioned a person by the name of, oh my God, where the hell is it?
There were kind of
Quarrel.
two.
Quarrel. No, Quarrel is what it was. Sorry, that's incorrect. But the other priest who was involved in this was a person called Arkel, who who we'll learn more about later, but not very much more about later. But we did get the informant, who was a witness, who is a frequent barfly at the salons of Symbaroum, and we thought we'd go and give them a chat.
Yeah, that just about covers it. In the meantime, while you and Ascarai were doing that, Elindra and Anton were at the mission of Father Sarvola, and let's bring on Stephen, who plays Elindra, former Templar novice, now turned what you all are, just a good old sellsword. And drama was happening at the mission after the departure of Steo and Ascarai.
It was. It's fair to say that it was kicking off. There were a number of people that had kind of identified themselves with kind of red scarves that sort of appeared out of the crowd, and that proceeded to firebomb the place. Frankly, throwing kind of lanterns and starting a fire. So we rushed inside the building, trying to get to Father Sarvola and trying to get him out. Mostly spent our time just kind of crashing into people and falling over and failing to persuade him to move any faster than his entourage would let him to. But we eventually managed to usher him out of the building, which is now on fire beyond repair. Stood around for a bit to see whether or not there was anything we could do to assist Sarvola, and on balance, he seemed to be fairly well kind of surrounded by people, and there was not a huge amount that we could do. So we spotted one of these red bescarfed people disappearing off into the crowd, and thought maybe we could find something out from them.
Absolutely, and at more or less at this moment, as you know, the mission house was collapsing in flames, and the crowd was dispersing, and Sarvola was making his way away with his followers, coughing up a lungful of smoke. Steo and Ascarai arrived back, and speaking of Ascarai, our third player Sam is going to hop on. Who plays Ascarai, our changeling ranger and scout. And general DPS of the group, I think it's fair to say. How did things go then, please, Sam?
I think from that point they went okay. I think between Anton and Elindra, they managed to kind of get this fleeing red scarfed man under control, and basically put, I can't remember who, but somebody put a knife to his throat and basically said, "Shut up." And we took him to a kind of a back alley where we could interrogate him a bit. I think we quite quickly managed to break his kind of resolve, and he basically gave up all the information he had, which was that he was part of a group called the Sellswords of the Sun.
Yeah.
There are about 12 of them, I think, and their leader is their kind of direct leader is a black cloak, which is sort of the Inquisition arm of the church, and he didn't know the black cloak's name, and they have a headquarters that he gave us the address of, and that I think he told us that they were backed by kind of a wealthier, important person,
some figure he wasn't sure, but who seemed to have kind of money and influence. Yeah, absolutely,
exactly. And then we debated for a little bit about exactly what our next step should be, but I think we eventually decided that we would go to this house and see what we could find there. When we got there, it was we didn't really see any activity, but it did look like a secret headquarters in that it was all boarded up like blackout kind of windows.
Yeah,
and,
kind of boarded up at the front, but with like a door at the back. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, oh, that's the secret entrance then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the only real thing of we decided in the end to not go in, but the what we did learn was from kind of a nosy neighbor around the back who did not appreciate the comings and goings of this little group, and he told us that the house had been purchased quite recently, and that it used to be the old owner certainly was a man called Kargoy Salamas.
Yeah, I don't think he knew that it had been purchased, but he like Kargoy
Yeah.
used to be there regularly, and now he's not, so he kind of assumed it had changed hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said that it certainly used to be, may still be owned by Kargoy Salamas.
Yeah, that's more accurate. And so we kind of didn't want to leave it in case they decided to pack up everything and leave. So Askarai and Alindra kind of stayed to stake it out and see if anyone would come or leave. And Stio and Anton went off on a very well thought out mission.
Yeah, so one of the things that people, because Kargoy Salamas is not an unknown man within Thistlehold, and some information that people who've lived there for a while realized is that Kargoy Salamas is known to be friends with a gentleman called Serix Atio, who you saw briefly earlier in this adventure carving up intruders into Thistlehold, and who actually featured as a fairly significant NPC in our spin-off campaign, Fetters of Stone. It's all in VOD on our YouTube. Go watch that. We streamed it on the Free League channel. Yes, it's good. And he's also a member of the same kind of sellsword agency you're part of. So, for reasons beyond my understanding, it's great. Like, I'm enjoying this because anyone who knows me will know one of my habits is absolutely laying into our next player. So let's bring on Mike, who plays Anton, Theurg of Prios. Mike, no, it was a decision to be made. The next thing that happened, Anton and Stio went to the salons of Symbaroum on, it's fair to say, a couple of errands, one of which went a lot better than the other. Why don't you tell us how it ended last week?
I think there were 3 errands, actually, because I think that we were looking for either Serix Atio or Kargoy or Giletto, which is the guy who
the eyewitness.
The eyewitness. So we first of all found Giletto and spoke to him, and he kind of confirmed the story, but also really came across as quite an unreliable narrator. So, like, I don't think that was super productive. I don't think it really told us much new, unless I'm misremembering.
I don't think it did. I think the only thing it really told you was that Arkel, the priest who Anadea argued with, also hasn't seen him recently either.
Yes, yeah.
But presumably you can get more information about him from the church or wherever. Yeah.
And then we went to we continued looking around for one of the other 2 chaps, and we stumbled across Serix Atio, and we rather brazenly just asked about this place and his connection to Kargoy, and it didn't go that well because he sort of said that he would talk to us outside of the Sounds of Symbaroum. I think took us out to a slightly dark alley nearby, broke Anton's nose, and gave Stio a bit of a roughing up, and seemed very displeased that we had basically accused his friend of some shady business.
I think it's kind of a multiple situation of kind of like, I guess you don't know how involved he is in this even, and obviously this is his old buddy. I believe you also said you were on agency business, which is a lie.
No, we said it's not agency business yet. I remember that.
I'm pretty sure he said, "Is this agency business?" And you said yes.
No, I said not yet.
Okay.
I remember.
I think he said not yet.
Okay, fair enough. Either way, you went to a guy linked directly to your main suspect and said, and started directly in asking him about it. And yeah, he didn't respond well. He flattened Anton, and he's currently holding Steo up against a wall off his feet. Steo is a very tall and powerful man, but not compared to Serix Atio, who is an absolute behemoth. Yeah, and that's exactly where we picked up. And I believe Serix's final words to you at the end of last week was something along the lines of, tell me again why this is agency business, or why this could be agency business, I suppose, based on my mishearing of it. And I think we can just go straight there. Anton, I'm going to say you're not like stunned or anything. You're not. You can start taking actions if you want. I don't really want to go into like combat rounds unless we decide this is a combat. But I'm guessing you're not immediately going to start fighting this guy.
No, but I also don't think I'm going to be really answering his question that much, because I would imagine that I've got blood pouring down my face and also down the back of my throat potentially as well.
I think he is kind of addressing it at Steo, although I would imagine that Steo's responses are somewhat strained from his position being pinned against the wall. And we did roll strength opposed for this, I think. So Steo, you are like stuck. I'm happy for you to try and wriggle free in a short while and do another roll or whatever, but like for now, I think you're fairly well pinned.
In the interest of actually getting some use out of this 10 XP thing I bought a while ago, I have Steadfast, so I would like to make a second check against.
Could you describe Steadfast for me?
Steadfast can make a second attempt on strong or resolute checks to escape from ongoing physical impediments.
Oh, well then. I think that's a very apt thing.
I think it's still at -8, but for the sake of using it for the first time since I bought it nearly a year ago.
My -8 was an improv, because I didn't have his stats next to me. Turns out I wasn't far off the mark. It should have been -7, but I think the surprise of it, adding 1, like as he just burst into action on you, is quite accurate. But we'll go with his actual stat this time, so it's at a -7. He has strength strong 17, so...
I need to roll 7 or less because I am still old. I roll a 6.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. How do you want to? Do you want to kind of like disengage from this in like a more passive way of just kind of like shoving his arm back and dropping to the ground, or do you want to disengage in a more aggressive way, like maybe like hoofing him somewhere sensitive, or like just pushing, like elbowing him off you or something like that? What tack are we taking here?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is still bar brawl territory. He specifically has not used his hoof and greatsword to part me from my lower parts. So I am going to kind of passively disengage and just kind of hold my hand up to catch my breath a second and go, look, okay, consider the investigation dropped. Christ.
He kind of is like looking around warily at both of you. He has like a reverse grip on that bastard sword right now, but you can see his hand is like gripping the blade of it, and at any moment he could easily swing that round to a strike. And he's just warily looking at both of you. As Steo is saying this, Anton, are you kind of taking any kind of action? Are you trying to climb to your feet or backing off or anything like that?
Yeah, climbing to my feet, perhaps just like pinching the bridge of my nose, trying to stem the blood flow, wiping it on my cloak, and just like maybe just trying to separate those two as well after I've wiped away some blood, and just saying, okay, it's done, it's dropped. We don't want the trouble.
Serix kind of like peers around at both of you, and kind of he's still holding his blade, but kind of lowers it a little bit and says, and he's kind of his eyes, you can see, are kind of like red and twitching, and he's slightly still reeling on his feet. You get he is still drunk, considerably drunk, and he peers and blinks a bit at both of you and says, "Who put you up to it? Who's looking into Kargoy? Tell me."
It's church business.
I know that already. Who?
I'll kind of glance across to Anton. not to kind of go that guy. For permission to proceed.
Oh my!
Yeah, you're glancing over to defer to Antomon to make the decision, not to kind of go.
It's just some work that we're doing for the church, and we are just getting information upon information upon information, and we didn't know that Kargoy is maybe linked to this place. We thought that he maybe sold the house to someone else who was then operating.
Serix, as you're clearly stumbling in it, do you think you're still on the ground?
No, I think I'm probably on my feet now.
Okay. Very quickly, Serix whips round the blade and lifts it, and it's pointing, just hovering a centimeter from your throat. And he says, "Tell me, is it that dry-groined prick Elfino?"
Well, it's complicated. There are many players within the church who have given us instructions.
Oh, Prios blasted! It's the bloody Lightbringer.
He kind of wrinkles his brow and looks over at you, Steo, and says, "Lightbringer?
You know,
It is definitely not public knowledge that Deceiver the Old is in Thistlehold, because you would know. Like, Anton would certainly have known."
It's from the top. What's her name? Deceiver? The saint, the living saint.
Fuck.
Look, he didn't even mention him. We're following the property, not the man. But we're not doing anything now. God only knows I can do with a few less enemies in town, and certainly not you.
All right. Something you have to understand. If I cut you two to pieces, all it means to me is an apology to your goblin friend. Nothing else. You understand?
Yes, my lord.
I may be drunk, but I'm smart enough to know you're probably not going to drop this. But that's the last warning I'm giving you. He takes a couple of paces back, sheathes his blade, glares at you both, turns and walks out of the alley.
Kind of beckon Anton over and start walking the opposite direction. Assuming this connects back to a bigger road further on.
Sure. Well, you're near like Halaban's Ring, so
it is a ring.
Or Toad Square, or wherever you want to head.
That's the thing, Anton, isn't it? These feckin' nobles, they may carry swords and drink booze, but the only thing they do is look after each other. Scumbags.
We made a lot of mistakes there in a very short space of time. I don't think that we should have told him about Lightbringer. I
think I lost my patience with the entire job about 2 seconds into being pinned to a wall by the flipping jogging mountain over there. Let's go back to this place. I'm either going to bust it up or go home for a pint. This is more than any of our jobs are worth.
Yeah, that we need to act now because Serix will warn people. He definitely seemed involved in this. He definitely seemed alarmed about what we were doing.
I think even
this may have already occurred to players or characters, but I wouldn't mind a cunning roll from Steel or Anton to maybe just analyze one of the things he said there. You're on mute, Mike.
Yeah, I made it.
Mike Meek. Yeah. You think, and in as much as that he said it, as well as his expression when you said that the Lightbringer was the one who sent you on this, actually before that, because he seemed upset about that specifically. But before that, when you said, "Oh, the church is involved," he said, "I know." You suspect after this encounter that he already knew at least some of this.
Okay.
At least Anton has like clicked on that. Steo, not so much.
Okay. Well, let's go and find the others. We need to tell them what's happened. And
well, it's not far. The house that the sellswords of the sun were making use of is a short way to the east, really. And as you head there, I think it's safe to say, Askarai and Elindra, that there you have been keeping a watch on the house. And you know what? I just want one of you to make a discreet roll at a +2, because I think we're at nighttime now, aren't we? So I just want one of you to make. Actually, maybe I'm talking rubbish there. I actually think I asked you for a discreet roll at the end last time.
Yeah,
So I remember mentioning a little awning in an alleyway.
Yeah, we found an awning with a good view on the back door, but sort of out of sight ourselves.
In that case, you don't have to worry about it. So you have seen a few individuals heading in a fairly like sort of, trying to be discreet kind of way into the backyard of that house, and they have not emerged from the backyard since.
Do any of them look like any of the people that I remember?
You recognize a couple of them, and still a couple of them are still in their kind of sellswords of the sun gear. A couple of others were wise enough to not have done that. But yeah, all in all, give me a vigilant roll, and we'll
That's a pass.
Failed.
Okay, Elindra, you're fairly sure that there were. You think that you saw 8 of them come back.
Okay.
And so far, you have not seen any of them leave.
Okay.
And at this moment, I think we'll have Steel and Anton kind of quietly walk in to the alleyway behind you.
We're not going to be chatting much. We're on a stakeout, so.
Yeah. I think Steo probably doesn't look the worse for wear, but Anton certainly does.
What happened to your nose?
Sir Exatio happened to my nose, and it was quite painful. He didn't take kindly to us implying that him and his friend Kargoy might be up to no good. And he was rather defensive about the whole situation. And he implied that he knew that the church was involved.
Okay.
So it is them. They are probably behind this.
Well, we know that there's a black cloak associated with this group, so
Kargoy's probably the money man, the powerful friend. But look,
I mean, that doesn't tell us anything that we didn't know before you went to see Sir Exatio, except that he is now involved and knows that we're on to him and Kargoy.
The only new information I can bring you is that I really like to either get a pint and go to bed or go into that place and kill some people.
Okay, so we saw, I think, 8 sellswords of the sun that we recognised back from Father Sarvala's place have gone in. So they've been reconvening there. So if we go in now, it's a fight and not a sneaking around looking for evidence.
Suits me just fine.
So what are we doing? Are we going in?
We've given the game away, right? Serexatio knows that he knows that we're on to his trail.
Look, to play devil's advocate with my own point, I'm done with this psychologically, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. I think we're within our rights just to go back to the top of the church and let the nice lady know and tell her she can sort her own insurgent problem out.
You think we have enough to point fingers at Cargoy and Serex?
Well,
And
not
let the church
Serex,
take it. Well,
but we got enough to give them the jurisdiction to figure this out. This isn't even top 5 on our list of problems, might I add. There's that sinkhole matter we are currently being conveniently distracted from. I got a lot of time for that for that extra priest and that splinter temple, but not after tonight.
we saved him for tonight. Yeah. We go into it's either going into a place where we know we're outnumbered for what?
Probably not outclassed though.
I mean,
I am
to be
very
fair, you know
angry.
you're outnumbered right now.
In this alley.
No, I mean, you know, you imagine that 8 people will not stay in that building forever. See what I mean? Like, waiting is an option. Or letting time pass, in some sense, is an option. You know, going and doing other things or coming. You know, I don't want you to feel like everything is completely on the clock and in the moment. If you see what I mean?
Oh, in character, I feel that.
Okay.
In character, I'm like,
guess it
if
is
we
to
come
some
back
degree.
tomorrow, this place will be empty.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the assumption that Alindra is running with.
Is
it worth the blood?
I hate that Serexatio thinks he can just warn us off like that.
I think that he will try and run me and Steo through if we continue to meddle. And he probably knows who you are as well, Ascarai, and he will probably try the same to you.
It's only one man.
It's like 3 men tied together with twine.
Still, we've been tasked with. The way I see it, we have 2 options. Either we go back to the church, probably don't. I don't even know if we should talk to them again, but just we have a way to take that information of Anadea that we need, and whatever we do with Disable doesn't really matter. But the other option is we kill these people. Potentially, we kill Serexatio. That's what we've been tasked with, to end this threat against the father, and it seems like Cargo Salamas and Serex are behind it.
We don't know that Serex is behind it. We don't even know that Cargo is behind it. All we know for certain is that this property is behind it.
We don't know that Serex is behind it, but he's certainly involved with it.
We also know that he's threatened to kill us.
Serexatio would threaten to kill a chair if it sat next to him for long enough.
Well,
that's a very good description of Serexatio.
That doesn't mean we just let it ride.
This went back to becoming church business when we found out that lot in there were being led by a black cloak. Now the church has hired us to go and fight some other wing of the church and drag in who knows what into this. For why? Sarvola's safe.
For now, Sarvola's safe, and our payment for this is access to a room which might give us even more questions.
Which, if push comes to shove, we could get into anyway.
Yeah, you have that note sneaked into Antom's pocket telling you how to sneakily find your way into Anadea's chamber. Options.
I don't know, lads. I'd really like to put my spear in something tonight.
Do you want to try your luck with Serexatio?
Yeah,
I do not want to try my luck with Serexatio tonight.
No, we're not. He's not in that house. There's some flipping 10-year-old kids with a insurgency complex and some black cloak.
If we go in there like pole arms, stabbing people left, right, and center, you will find yourself in a similar situation with Sir Exatio that we found ourselves in earlier on tonight. And Steve, you're a good fighter, but there is only going to be one winner in that fight.
We have faced worse than Sir Exatio and won. We have faced corrupt abominations in Davakar, and we are still here. We have killed everything that has stood against us. Why? I hate that we are going to allow this one noble, drunken idiot to threaten us and get away with it.
Yeah, and my opinion of Sir Exatio has dropped a couple of notches since sundown, but can we stop kicking foundation pillars of this town out from under it? We've already lost literal foundations, and now we want to go for a guy who is monumentally linked to Mother Mahira's and is an icon in the town.
Sorry to interrupt. I feel like this conversation it's a great conversation. I don't want to stop it, but what I would like from everyone is both a discreet roll at -1 and a vigilant roll at -1. And all I'm looking for is just one success from anyone on both.
I passed the discreet, but not the vigilant.
Okay, so does anyone pass the vigilant? Chris did. Okay, that's absolutely fine. I guess people let me know if you hit a 1 or something like that.
I got a 1 on the vigilant test.
Oh, hey, there we go. The discreet means that no one notices you, even though you're all huddled together talking in an alleyway nearby. Askarai, you are the first to notice, and you kind of nudge anyone else who notices. So Steo and anyone else who made the roll, you nudge as Steo was the last to talk there, I believe. There are 5 what look like the sellswords of the sun coming out together from the backyard of that building and kind of peering around and then heading off into the night in different directions.
I guess we'd all stayed very quiet while that was happening.
I think so.
But, should only be 3 left now.
7 maximum. There may have been 4 in there already, for all we know.
Look, it's worth a friendly knock on the door, isn't it?
I think this is our chance, right?
We're doing this. We're going to walk into a fight and piss off Sir Exatio in order to do a favour for the church, tracking down somebody who works for the church.
No one has to
in
know
order
it
to
was us going in. Look, now's the only time we're going to get to do this, so make your points.
Fine.
Okay, then. And it feels like a point where we may have to have just a quick mechanic correction to last week, because I made a mistake last week, Stephen, because I made you put temporary corruption for Revenant Strike. Or rather, I made you roll Resolute for Revenant Strike. It does not require a roll of Resolute in order to trigger.
It doesn't?
Revenant Strike. Nope.
Ah.
Someone pointed it out in the comments, and I went and double checked. And no, Revenant Strike does not does not require a Resolute roll to trigger. Yeah,
okay,
so that's good. Okay, so what's the plan? I'm assuming since the front is all boarded up, we're thinking of going to that door around the back.
I might do a little bit of a heal before we go in.
Sure. We can assume that you've tried to patch yourself up on the way, I think, as well. So do you want to give yourself a heal roll?
Okie doke. Okay, healed 2 points.
Excellent. What's the plan, folks? Shall I describe the building for you again? That seems like a good thing I should do. It's a tall and narrow building in the neighborhood closest to the stockade south of Halaban's Ring. The main gate of the 3-story house is nailed shut by sturdy planks, and behind the windows are thick black curtains, making it impossible to see inside. The small backyard, shared with several other buildings, can be entered by way of a narrow alley. In there can be found a steep stair down to a cellar door and a kitchen entrance, which is visibly locked and equipped with an iron bar and secured by a padlock. So, yeah, it's pretty done up pretty tight.
What do you think, Askray? You're best at this.
I don't know. Is stealth our goal here?
At least initially.
I'm not sure. There's only one way in and out, as far as I can tell. One good way.
Do you think the cellar door is locked? Be stupid if it wasn't. Do we just knock it down?
Do any of us feel like they can open the lock? If so, let's try it quietly. If not, boots.
Yeah, I mean, it's a padlock. I don't think any of you have like lock picking kits or anything like that. So probably not. I mean, it's fairly tightly bound up, but it does just look like a normal door. Like, you know, especially if you have something to provide leverage, then knocking it down or battering it in is not a problem. You know, we're talking a strong roll here with something for leverage, such as, I don't know, a long spear.
Oh, but it's such a fancy spear. We can pry it open.
Yeah. So we're kind of relying on the element of surprise here and sort of, you know, just going for it, right?
I think so.
We can make a distraction out the front while we are making some noise entering into the cellar. Just an idea.
I thought the plan was we force the door and we get ourselves inside there as quickly as possible and take the element of surprise. We don't want to leave Steo here forcing the door on his own.
As long as we can open the door in a quiet way.
I don't think that's an option, but I can offer you quick.
Yeah, if we can't do quiet, let's do quick.
Okay.
And with the people inside? Are we...
We're expecting at least 3.
You want to know if we're taking prisoners?
Yeah.
I guess we should try. The one that we caught before was just a kid.
Yeah, I guess let's see how they react.
Yeah. Okay, then. Well, it sounds like what we're having is this cellar door is being levered and battered open by Steo. So that is going to be I think it's just a straight up strong roll. I think that's the thing. If I'd say that probably you can be helped by someone else and take their strong modifier on it, which I'm assuming is Alindra, because Alindra is much stronger than Anton or Askarai.
Sure.
So what's your strong then?
15.
Nice.
It's a +5 then, so
that's 20. It's 19 or less. 14.
Okay.
Nice.
So essentially what happens is this. It's like a steep little narrow stair that leads down into the ground to the cellar level. You all kind of like try and creep down it as quiet as you can. Steo, you kind of like slide your spear behind the iron bar across the front and just lever it one way while Alindra levers it the other to try and twist and break the iron bar, or at least break it out of its housing, not break the iron bar. That would be weird. And it does so very quickly. It kind of shears away one of the kind of fastenings on one side, clearly on some rotten wood. The whole thing comes away and you just hoof the door as hard as you can with your boot. It cracks open, slams open, and inside is one chamber. The cellar around the size of the house itself, which I believe I described as tall and narrow. So it's kind of like a kind of long room. It's quite dark in there, although there's a couple of candles scattered about. There are a couple of tables in there, a scattering of cheap wooden chairs. There are 3 rather youthful sellswords of the sun kind of spinning round with looks of shock on their faces, and stood behind them is a youngish man in the general garb of the Black Cloaks, which I'm sure you can realize what that is yourselves. But yeah, he's wearing kind of like dark linens with a shrouded black cloak over it. He's got a pair of sort of quite expensive looking and well fashioned sort of pinch nose glasses, and he sort of like rears backwards and flicks a fencing saber out of from under his cloak and shouts, "At them! At them!"
Is this door that we've come through the only way in or out of this room?
No, there is a set of stairs leading upwards.
Okay.
In the corner. I think we need to go to initiative, please. John, just an initiative with the Sellswords of the Sun and the Black Cloak, please. Would be good. Would be wonderful.
So I think it's me and Alindra kind of would have been bursting in initially, followed by our backline.
I think that sounds fairly likely. Let me get some paper. I need paper. There we go. So have we got our initiative up yet? Not quite. But it's almost always Elindra first, I think. Oh no, Askarai first.
Yeah, it's usually Askarai. I don't know how that works shooting through a doorway, but
there's no
yeah, it's fine. Like there's if you're bursting in, like it's just
you can fan out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to. Okay. Well, I would have definitely had my bow and an arrow ready. I'm trying to think if we would. I'm going to shoot at the Black Cloak.
Sure. That seems
seems sensible.
Yeah, definitely. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, okay, let's do this. Askarai, you're shooting at the Black Cloak, you say?
Yes, that's my plan.
Okay. Sorry, I just need to check something before this happens. You go ahead and make your roll.
I can roll, but I don't know what his modifier is.
Oh, yeah, sorry. His modifier is -4. Okay.
I need 11 or less. I got a 1. That's 2 ones in a row now.
That's pretty good. So sorry, I just know what's happened, so it's funny.
Oh God.
If anyone's curious about what this power that he's using is, it is Master Acrobatics, where he can divert an attack onto an enemy.
Oh no!
Oh wow! God, this is our one.
This is the happiest Matt gets.
Basically, they don't get a defense roll against it, but they don't take damage from it unless he makes a quick roll, which he did make. So I'm now going to randomize, and you did say that Steo and Elindra were in the front, so I'm going to randomize who's going to take the arrow. I basically am imagining you're like tracking him, and he just dodges at the moment of release behind like one of your companions in front of you, and that companion is going to be Steo. Can you give me a damage roll, please, Askarai? And don't forget that extra D6 for the perfect hit.
I'm sorry, Steo. Okay, so this is a D10 and a D6 +1. I will roll. I rolled a 9 +1, 10.
Give me that armor roll, please, Steo.
Okay. For the record,
Steo.
I have 8 health points right now.
Oh no!
Didn't you want to? Do you not have a healing roll that should have been made at any time?
Well, it was 8 out of 13, so I didn't think I'd mention it.
Okay.
Here we go. It's an armor for. Where's my flipping armor? 1d10. 2.
Oh god!
I mean, I'm guessing that's past your pain threshold.
Yes, significantly. Oh no, wait. Oh, is it? It's just big past my pool. My pain threshold is 7.
So yes, it's past your pain threshold, and I believe. And it's down. I mean, it's downed you as well, right?
Yep.
Okay, let that be a lesson to us. Heal. The Black Cloak dodges behind Steo. You loose your arrow, and it thwacks Steo directly in kind of just next to his spine in his shoulder, and he tumbles to the ground with a painful cry. Do you get your second shot? And is it at Steo? Your second shot. Do you do you get it if you don't hit the opponent the first time? You do, don't you?
Yeah, as long as I don't move, I get it.
Yeah. Are you taking that?
I might just give up firing bows permanently, to be honest. I guess I will try again and hope I don't just wait. How? So wait. Before I try and shoot this guy again,
Sure.
is he
Once
just going to do the
once a
same?
turn. No, it's once a turn. It's
Okay.
once a turn.
Okay. In that case, I will try again to shoot him.
Wary of his wiles this time. Don't let him dodge behind friendly casualties.
Yeah.
You're out of his eye line now, so that's fine.
On this
Yeah,
one,
that's
I
fine.
very helpfully rolled a 20. Oh, God.
Well, it says you take a free attack from him, but I don't. You can't. He's holding a saber, so yeah, that's fun. But now it's his turn. So I think he is going to. I think he's going to leap forward and engage Alindra. Honestly, being as Alindra is now the one rushing in.
Yay.
So he also gets. What's your vigilant, Alindra?
10.
10. So that's a non-thing. So this is a pretty good roll of his, which he definitely makes with a 1.
Oh my God.
So essentially, he gets a free attack in addition to his ordinary attack, and this is the Master of Feint, which is pretty good. So I'll take that free attack on you first. Can you roll defense, please? At I think it's just flat. Oh no, he uses discreet instead of accurate. So at a defense at a -5, please.
-5. Okay,
Mhm.
I need an 8. I get 16.
Okay, can you give me an armor roll, please?
Yeah. That's a 1.
Okay, then take 4 toughness, please. He darts in towards you, and with that fencing saber, sort of slashes across your face and leaves kind of a deep cut running across with blood kind of running down into your face already. Going well, this.
This is a good start,
Going blinding, I'd say. No pun intended.
Almost literally, yeah.
Yeah. And another defense roll, please.
Sure. At -5?
Mm-hmm.
I passed that one.
Okay, yeah. Now you know what he's about. He's clearly a nimble fencer, and I'd say you just back off at this stage and leave him to try and cover the ground in front of you. You've got reach. You've got you've got a long sword, is it? Or is it
It's
just
a bastard sword.
a bastard? You've got a bastard sword. You've got the reach. You're just kind of holding it in front of you and whipping your head side to side to get this blood out of your eyes and trying to gain some distance from him because he's clearly a dangerous individual. And it's your turn.
Fantastic.
Do you want to? We didn't mention it before. Do you want to have used Revenant Strike before you broke through the door?
I'm going to
I think
regret
that's
saying
fine.
it, but no. My plan
Okay.
was not to engage it because we were being stealthy.
Sure.
And at this point, there's still an outside chance that I might try to convince him we're from the church, and that's not the right look. So no.
No, it is not. You're absolutely right.
So no, yeah, just the sword as is.
And I take it we're attacking the Black Cloak.
I think we are, yeah.
Yeah, his defense is -4.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a success.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. What damage are you doing?
It's going to be a D12 in and of itself.
That's good.
8.
That is good. So you have surpassed his pain threshold. Do you want another attack, or do you want to knock him prone?
Remind me what prone.
It basically means he has to spend a turn getting up. Essentially.
Let's
Yeah.
do that and see if we can spend that turn mopping up the cell swords.
That seems like a not too bad idea. All told. Yeah. So essentially, as he comes at you again, as I say, you've got his measure this time, and he comes at you in a kind of fencing advance, clearly thinking, maybe from the fact that one of your companions has tumbled to the ground and you are left with kind of a mask of crimson over your face, that he has you. Him and his companions will carve you down, and that overconfidence is his weakness. He comes in towards you, and a quick backhand from you leaves a huge cut across his midsection. You haven't disemboweled him or anything, but he kind of rears back and stumbles with a cry and collapses to the ground. Those like pinched glasses going scattering across the floor, and he's kind of fumbling to pick up that fencing saber again. Do you want to do anything with your movement? Like, do you want to use it to dash to engage any of these cell swords or anything like that? Now, because he won't get a free attack on you now he's on the ground if you wanted to disengage.
Yeah, sure. I will. Yes, I will. Assuming that he's kind of between us and the cell swords. Are they kind of at the back?
He definitely moved in quicker than the cell swords.
Cool. Yeah, I will sort of leap over him and get in towards the cell swords.
Sure. I'll tell you what. Do you want to engage one or two of them?
Let's do one.
Okay. Yeah, you dash and engage one of the cell swords, who is sort of just a young man, very similar to the young man you interrogated is not here, but they give you all of these youngsters give you that impression. They're kind of in their late teens, probably very highly easily influenced. John was saying something about master acrobatics not working in that way. In a combat with more than one opponent, the character may once per turn use an enemy as a shield and have that enemy suffer a successful hit instead of the character. The opponent cannot defend against it. That's it. That's all it says. It didn't say anything about being engaged, I don't think. But that's just my reading of it. But I think I copy and pasted it over. So anyway, it was a nice, dramatic moment, wasn't it? So we'll run with it. Steo. So
my first death test.
I think there is a death test thing to do, right?
1 in 20 chance of dying. If I roll a 20, I die. If I roll a 1, I stabilize.
Yeah, isn't there? There's something else to it, though, isn't there? Like, isn't there? Yeah. So. Like, if you roll 11 to 19, the third time 11 to 19 is rolled, you die then as well. So there's like a bit of a clock on it.
Okay, fair enough. So, a 9.
There you go. So no effect. So you're just there on the ground, kind of reaching, trying to fumble at the arrow in a very unpleasant place on your shoulder. We've got the cell swords to go now. Let's start with the one on Elindra, shall we? Because we know who they're engaged with. So can you roll a defense at just a flat defense, please, Elindra?
Sure. That's a success.
Okay. The youth in front of you sort of tries to batter at your defense with what's honestly like a kind of a short club. Doesn't manage to get through. They're rank amateurs, quite clearly. As for who the others are engaging, I think I'm just going to completely randomize this between the three of you. One of them is going to run at... another one is going to run at Elindra, and the next one is going to run at Askarai. The one dashing for Elindra, can you give me just another flat defense roll, please?
Yes, another pass.
Yeah, same story. This time it's a young woman coming at you with like a sort of hatchet that looks more like an axe you'd have around the house for chopping wood, honestly. And it's the same story. Askarai, roll me a flat defense, please.
Okay. I passed.
Yeah, the same thing. It's a young man coming at you with what looks like essentially a large kitchen knife. and you manage to back away and maybe flick your cloak around to deflect some clumsy blows quite successfully. Anton, what are we doing, and does it involve that bottle of insta heal in your pocket?
Well, it might
gone,
do,
though, isn't it?
No,
we've still got
two
some...
or three uses left.
Mm-hmm.
But Anton's actually just remembered that he's got some pretty urgent business in Inderos, and he's remembered that he doesn't actually need to be in this place.
Tonight has not been a good night for our Symbaroum pals, but what is Anton doing?
Yeah, I'm going to rush over towards because I'm not being engaged with anyone, so I'm going to rush over towards Steo, reaching into my cloak, bringing out the vial of water of the dusk, I think it's called. And I think he swallows it. Is that right? I can't
remember. I think we've used it both ways before. I think we
have,
originally used it pouring on people, and then we read maybe in the book that you actually are meant to drink it. Or, you know what? Either way, I think it works either way. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'll just like if I've got time with my actions, I will just administer that to Steve.
Oh yeah. I think you absolutely do. And you know what? I'm going to say it's not really a movement action even to get to him. Like, I think you're right there behind him and you can kind of duck down and pour it on him or get him to drink a bit of it or whatever you like. That kind of like almost... I think we described it as being in a vial and it kind of has an odd sparkle to it, like water, on a summer's afternoon or something like that. It's 1d10, right? 1d10 in steel, I think.
I think it is. Do I roll it or does Steo roll it?
I think I roll it.
Steo,
And I thought it was a
roll it.
D6. Are we sure it's a D10?
Well, let's double check. Let's double check on that. It's I know where I can find it. I can find it in Adventure Pack 1 because that's where the story is of Blight Knight. And let me find.
What a great name for an adventure.
It is, isn't it? It's just like really, just unnecessarily funny. Oh, maybe it's in the core book actually. Sorry, you guys.
D12.
D12.
What?
Hang on a minute.
Dusk.
I'm just googling it rather than looking in.
Water of the Dusk. I found it here.
Maybe not.
Light of the Sun. Yeah, that's to make it light up. Drops of the Sun. Yep, 1d10. 1d10 points of toughness.
Pray for Steo. 8. That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's basically what you just took. I'm going to say you Anton, how do you apply? Do you pour it on or do you try and get him to drink some of it?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get him to drink some of it. And also, I think I'm just really confused about what's happened, like how Steo ended up in the situation.
He basically battered the door down and Steo just went, and just fell over.
Pretty much.
Senior moment.
There must be some kind of archer behind us who's flanked us.
Yeah.
Don't know where that arrow came from.
Steo, you feel kind of Anton's hands on kind of the back of your head and like the cool glass. And you're familiar, you've drunk this before, and you kind of, even through the pain, you register the relief. You feel a warmth flushing through you, and an odd kind of popping sensation on your shoulder as the arrow kind of like gets pushed out.
How do
it does
you
a whole like
healing gross.
It does a whole kind of like Wolverine healing factor effect on it, and you can feel the arrow kind of like with a bit of your blood kind of rolling down your shoulder and kind of just clunking on the floor next to you. You can get up and go about your business.
Okay, well, obviously not this turn though.
Obviously not this turn. Anton, you still have an action left. If you want to do anything, maybe a bit of the old magic stuff. You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking about the old Blessed Shield, actually. So let's try and roll that. Oh, I missed by 1. No Blessed Shield for me.
No Blessed Shield. That's fine. Let's go back to the beginning. John says, I believe healing someone else is a combat action. Well, that's fine, though, isn't it? Because I think casting doesn't have to be a combat action. I think it's just an action. So, yeah. Because I said it wasn't a movement action. So, it's just healing as a combat action and then casting as an other action. I don't think casting has to be a combat action, does it?
I
Or
thought
we can just say that Anton very carefully, slowly, methodically screws the cap back on the vial, carefully puts it back within his robe.
I think using an ability does have to be a combat action because it's not listed under the sample movement actions.
You get one combat action and one movement action.
Yeah,
right?
but using an item or elixir is a movement action, so that's all fine. Using the Water of the Dusk was movement action, and trying to cast Blessed Shield was a combat action, so it's all fine. Ascarai, we're back to you. You are unfortunately engaged, though, so no double arrows for you.
And Steer just got up as well. I could have shot him again.
There's still time.
Yeah, I'm going to switch to my knife and try to knife the man who is trying to knife me.
Absolutely. Well, their defense is +1, so not too fearsome.
With a 16, I rolled a 1.
Nice.
I've rolled 3 1s tonight and a 20. It's just all or nothing, apparently.
So that is going to be a damage roll with an extra d6, please.
So this is 2 d6s and a d4 because I'm using feint on my dagger attacks, and I rolled 10 damage.
10 damage, and let me account for their armor, which is none. So 10, did you say?
Yeah.
That's well over their pain threshold. Would you like an extra attack or to knock them prone?
Definitely an extra attack.
Go for it.
Okay. Please no 20s. Please ones. I rolled a 2, nearly a 1.
There we go. And just a regular damage, please.
Regular damage, I got 8.
Okay. You kind of sling your bow to the side, draw out your dagger. The youth comes at you kind of flailing with that kitchen knife. You whip the cloak in his face a little bit and then just step in under his guard and just kind of one arm around, kind of gripping him around the back to hold him steady. 1, twice, 3 times in the chest with your dagger. He has a shocked expression as he tumbles gasping onto the ground. He's not getting up again. Ever.
Okay.
Movement action?
Can I use
anything?
Can I use it to help steer up, or is that combat-y action?
Good question. Maybe
That's
that gives me a
question.
bonus for my quick roll.
I would say, yeah, something like that. Hang on a second. I'm just checking something here. Actually, your movement action was taken up on drawing your dagger, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough.
Switching weapons is a movement action, so.
Yeah.
The Black Cloak is going to try... Now, he has acrobatics. So, he can attempt to jump back up as a free action by making a quick test. And if it fails, he has to spend a movement action to get back on his feet. It says a movement action to get back on its feet as usual, but I thought to get back on your feet was both actions normally.
I think it's like free action if he passes the quick, then a normal quick test to get up with 1 action, and then 2 actions for the normal stand up.
So I think that's how that works. Either way, I think it just moves it a stage better, doesn't it? Whatever your result is. Quick is 13. And he makes that roll, so kind of scrabbles up to his feet rather quickly. And I think he's going to engage someone who isn't engaged already. So that's anyone but Alindra, really, isn't it? So that's going to be Anton. So the Black Cloak finds his way back to his feet. He looked to be just like scrabbling on the ground the last time any of you saw him, and then he's just up and in Anton's kind of peripheral vision, like slicing towards him with that fencing saber again. What is your vigilant, Anton?
13.
13. So that is that or less, which he makes. So he gets a free attack. Character free attack against that enemy in addition to its... Yeah, so he's going to get 2 attacks on you, essentially. So can you give me a defense roll at a... I think it's a -5. Yeah.
That's a busy round for someone that started it prone.
Mm-hmm.
I need to
It's
roll
a very
a 2.
specific combination of abilities.
I rolled a 6. That's not.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. No, sorry. I said I need to roll a 2, and I rolled a 6.
Okay. Yeah, that's not good. So give me an armor roll, please. On the plus side, he's not doing a huge amount of damage when he hits, which is good.
Sorry, where are we? 3.
Okay. So take 2 toughness. And he kind of leaps into your peripheral vision, slashes at you, and immediately carves like a line into your forearm, like a particularly vicious cat scratch, I suppose. I say as a man who almost constantly has cat scratches on his forearms. Give me an identical defense roll, please, for his next attack at you.
No, that's an 11. That's worse.
Okay. Armor roll, please.
Same again, 2.
Okay. I thought you rolled 3 for the first one.
Oh, did I? In that case, I didn't do as well then.
That's 3 damage, and again, you kind of spin around and like raise your arms on your flail to defend yourself, and he just uses that to cut into one of your wrists, which you have an uncomfortable feeling is like sheared to the bone on one side by his blade. So yeah, you suspect if this carries on much longer, it might be death of 1,000 cuts for Anton. That's his actions, though. He's engaged with Anton now. Elindra, it is your turn. You're facing 2 undamaged sellswords.
Yep. And I take it there's no way that I can sort of wheel around and focus on the Black Cloak without giving them attack.
They need to get a free attack on you.
Okay, then the guy with the club. He was first. I would like to attack him with my sword.
Well, that's an attack. You'll have that attack at a +1.
Lovely. That is a pass. So you want some damage for that?
I would love some damage.
11.
Nice.
Oof. So that's past the pain threshold considerably. Would you like a free attack or to knock him prone?
I've lost all faith in knocking him prone, so let's go for a free attack.
Sure, go for it. Again, another attack at +1.
He was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Is that in front of Elindra, with Elindra's sword out?
A bit, yeah. I did actually fail that one though.
Okay.
So lucky cells.
Well, your original strike, which he kind of staggers back from and out of the reach of your follow-up backhand, as it were, basically, let's just, I don't think we've been bloody enough here. He's, carry on. What were you going to say?
I have 200 force, which means that if I miss, I get another go.
You get a backhand. Yeah. So go for that. Definitely go for that.
New attack roll. That is a pass on the attack.
And the damage
jumped in there just as you were narrating.
It's all right.
5 damage.
Is it because it's a reduced die roll, right?
D8,
if you hit
yeah.
A D8, yeah, sure. So this is what happens. The young gentleman with the club comes at you. He is kind of screaming invective about the heretic, about death to false prophets and this kind of thing, kind of virtually foaming at the mouth, and he strikes out at you hard with a club. You step to, you wheel to the side, showing exemplary footwork, bring your blade down hard, severing his forearm completely. He staggers back away from one backhand, but the next one catches him in the throat and tears it open. There's a gush of bright arterial blood against the wall of the cellar, and he collapses to the ground, probably dead before he hits the packed earth. Yeah. Do you want to do a movement? I'm assuming you don't want to do a movement action because you're still engaged with the other one who isn't looking happy.
Yeah, I'm gonna mostly just kind of wheel around to point the sword at the other cell sword and kind of smile.
Sure, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Steo, it's your turn. There is The Black Cloak is still engaged with Anton, and there is one remaining sellsword of the Sun engaged with Alindra.
I would like to take an attack with advantage on the Black Cloak, given he's already engaged.
Sure. Let me make a check.
We have to attack him at some point.
No, yeah, it's fair enough. Let me just check something. What do I have to do? Yes. 1 second. I'm just making a roll. Okay, carry on.
Great. So he is -3 or something, isn't he?
I think he's -5.
So 10.
Oh no, -4. Sorry, he's -4. Yeah.
So 15, 14, so 10 or less. 13.
Okay, so you missed.
I do miss. Yes, apologies.
Okay, I mean that's probably. Let me just read this. Have that enemy suffer a successful hit. Okay, was that your free attack? Do you get a free attack when you engage someone? I think you do, don't you?
Well, I suppose technically yes. Do we want to yes, no, because like we agreed that the correct ruling of Polar Mastery 2 is anytime anyone is coming into range of me. So technically,
I think
yes.
so. I think so.
But I don't think this one will have advantage.
No, because you're like, well, I think we determined with our flanking rules that it's like on their turn that they can turn to flank. But also, I would say that what he's just no, he hasn't just done it. Oh, this is getting so complex, guys. I do apologize. Let me just double. You've got me doubting myself now. The character receives a free attack against all enemies who come into range of melee combat, whether it is the enemy who engages the character or vice versa is irrelevant.
Okay.
So that was your free attack. You can now get an extra attack. And I think it will also be flanking because he hasn't had a turn to like turn around on you yet. So
it's 10 or less again. It's 9.
Good. Get that armor die ready. So sorry, I do need to make a check first. Yep. So can you give me a damage roll, please, Theo?
Great. That's a D10 plus 1.
Oh no.
Oh, 5.
5. Not too bad. Can you give me an armor roll, please, Anton?
3.
Okay, not too bad. You had turned and focused on the Black Cloak so much that you barely noticed Theo standing up next to you, kind of taking a skip and a step round behind the Black Cloak, thrusting through the Black Cloak, melting to one side, and kind of with one free hand, like grabbing near the head of Theo's spear and guiding it further towards where you are, and the spear tip of Theo's weapon kind of like it doesn't impale you, but it kind of very briefly just punctures in and out around your collarbone and leaves you kind of gasping with pain for 2 toughness.
These are my collarbones that like I got pinned to the like stakes
Your
to the
collarbones.
ground.
Having a bad time.
Also, like, what is it with Anton? I'm just getting like unsuspectingly hit tonight. Like he got punched in the face with the guy holding a sword.
I'm not sure that Anton has the greatest complaint to make about being unsuspectingly hit tonight when Theo just had to make a death roll from getting arrowed in the back by your main DPS.
Well, that some other archer must have shot that. Astro would never have
hidden sniper. Either way, the guy's used up his free misdirect for the turn, right? So that's the good thing. So next we have the remaining sellsword attacking Alindra, and you know what? Given everything that's happening, I think it's worth making a resolute roll for her. Although her resolute is really good. And just good enough. She looks terrified by the fate of her friends, but still is carrying on with her attack against you with that hand axe. Can you give me a defense roll, please, Alindra, at whatever it was? Defense. It's just flat. It's just a flat defense roll.
That's a pass.
Yeah. Her fear is impeding her already not too significant martial skills. So, Anton, your turn.
Well, I'm going to try and hit the black cloak, although I think that might be easier said than done.
Well, it is a defense at a minus. He has -4 on his defense, so yeah, your rolls at a -4.
I rolled a 17, which is bad, but it could be worse because it's an odd number.
So that lets you do like a backhand thing, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's not quite. They don't quite call it a backhand. It's like the heavy jointed
heavy
weapon.
flail. Yeah.
Thing.
It's just it's swinging around so much it's hard to be missed entirely.
Yeah. It's a D6 of damage.
Is it an automatic hit?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That is good. That's got something over the backhand then, because the backhand is another fresh roll. So that's cool.
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe John can double check that. But
Do you want to double check that, John? It's in the player's guide, I think, Flail Mastery or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's the fans.
Oh no! Is it the property of the weapon that it's jointed?
It's the property of the weapon. Yeah.
Right. Sure. Yeah. If John, you can have a quick check.
We'll jointed.
Yeah. So what's the damage?
6.
Oof.
Nice.
Yeah. You know what?
He
Perfect.
Just done
it. He's kind of coming at you after the spear. He thinks again he's got you finished. Again, his downfall seems to be maybe he thinks that Prios is on his side. And on this occasion, certainly it turns out to not be the case. He comes at you cutting, presumably thinking you're just a priest. Sorry. Yeah, it's an auto hit. Yeah. He comes at you fast, slashing with his saber. You take a couple of steps back and sort of kind of pull your flail away. And as you do so, kind of swing it round. It misses coming up. He kind of like dodges away from it. He should have remembered about gravity because it comes right back down, cracks along the back of his head and sends him sprawling to the floor, kind of with a significant dent in the back of his head. And you know what? I think that you probably want to talk to this guy. So I'm going to make some sort of death rolls for him, but I'm going to make them on a much smaller die. Because, NPCs don't have the survival power of player characters, do they? I think on seeing the black cloak collapse to the floor beaten, the remaining sellsword is going to... Well, you know what? Let's find out. No. She is fighting to the death. I don't want to carry on the combat of you lot surrounding and carving up a vulnerable young woman. So I'd say between the four of you, you can choose what to do here. Are we killing the remaining sellsword? Are we incapacitating her, or are we just letting her flee?
I'd rather incapacitate.
Yeah, me too.
I vote to let her flee, but Steo would like to see some more blood tonight and will vote to kill.
So we've got 1 kill, 2 incapacitate. What does Alindra think?
I mean, Alindra's default setting here is going to be to try to kill, but if Ascarai goes first in the initiative order and manages to drop,
I don't think we're going to cover initiative order. But if yours kill, I'll just roll and see how. Steo Elindra, like, she comes at you with one last wail. You step back and thrust forward, and it's done. All that's left is there are 3 dead sellswords on the floor of this cellar, and there is a black cloak who is still for now breathing, who is sort of like on his side, like vaguely trying to like clutch at the wound on the back of his head to try and feel how bad it is. He does not look in a good way.
I'm going to get my dagger out and hold it to the black cloak's neck and say, we can make this go easy, or we can just leave you here to bleed out. We need information.
Can you give me a persuasive roll at a +1, please?
don't make it.
He kind of looks at you and he blinks and says, "What?"
We need
He's still
names.
with us.
We need names.
I feel like because Antom's made a roll, is anyone else gonna try for this?
Yeah, is it beyond the pale that I can just bring my spear up in front of him and go, "Who's the money man? Tell us the money man."
It's just another persuasive roll. Persuasive at +1, please. You're on
That's
mute.
flat persuasive because I'm old. Oh, 16 could not have gone worse. Could have gone worse. Could have gone worse.
Okay.
Could always go
Yeah,
worse.
you said you're kind of like gesturing with your spear, and you said who's the money man and all that kind of thing.
Should we all have a go? Can we do that?
No. He kind of focuses on the spear and says, "Sorry, is your spear? It's bronze. Is it bronze or copper or something like that?"
I think it's bronzy, yeah.
He kind of just focuses on it for a second and says, "Glowing bronze, like Prios." He's gone.
I'd like to search him as soon as he dies. Well, no rush, but I want to know who
I like
he
the
is.
idea that you just quick before any of his possessions melt.
This is the most murder hobo-y we've been, and it's making me uncomfortable.
He has a very well crafted fencing sword with a couple of properties, if anyone should want to lift it for any purpose. And also, can you give me a D4 roll, please?
D4. Okay. I rolled a 4.
He has 4 herbal cures. And that's it. No money, no incriminating letter, no, nothing else.
A coin purse for the secret compartment.
No, none of that. Oh, if he did, it wouldn't help you guys anyway, right? Not until you took it to an NPC.
Yeah.
The first thing I would like to do is close the door so we have a bit of privacy.
I will.
Seems fair. Yeah.
The shattered door.
Yeah. You can definitely shut it too. Like you haven't kicked it off its hinges or anything.
I will take his sword for now. Just.
It's a very well made sword. If you want to hang on to it for any reason, it has both deep impact and precise.
It's like my spear, but tiny.
Strap
Okay.
it to a stick.
Well, everyone, I'm not going to lie. I hope that would make me feel better than it did.
It didn't get us much closer to unraveling this mystery, did it?
It did remove a threat, though.
Yes, I feel like Sarvila is safer now.
Yeah. Check the room. There might be something written down somewhere.
Yeah.
There is also a set of stairs leading up. You can look around this room if you wish, but unless you are like literally looking for hidden treasure by like pressing every aspect of the walls, there's not much to see because there is just a couple of tables and some chairs and a few candles. There's nothing else down here but the packed earth floor. But there are some stairs leading upwards.
I'll head up the stairs. See what's up there.
Sure.
Okay. So on the bottom floor, it's basically laid out as you might imagine an empty, fairly affluent but not grotesquely rich Thistlehole townhouse might look. There's a couple of pieces of like old furniture. They're like old, not very expensive furniture scattered around, and another set of stairs leading upwards again. But there's no kind of containers for things. There's no, it's just tables, a couple of tables, couple of chairs in various wooden paneled rooms.
Does it look like a house that's being used as a house, or does it look like a building that happens to contain some furniture?
Yeah, it looks like a building that used to be a house.
Yeah.
But currently has no general purpose other than the being used as a headquarters here.
Okay.
But there is more stairs leading up. There's 3 kind of stories above ground of, well, that's what you saw from the outside.
I'll go up. I don't assume that everybody is.
I'm assuming everyone's kind of just going up together. Okay. On the
I'll do my
second story,
best. Oh, yeah, sorry.
carry on. Sorry.
I'm just going to do my best to make the door look like it's not been heaved in, so that we have
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least a
sure.
little bit of
As
distraction.
I've said, you've put it to. It's
Yeah.
it's the best job you can kind of do. You just swing it closed, and it's just kind of leaning slightly on the
And I'll keep
the
a
hinges.
thoroughly long distance behind everyone else because I am incredibly loud and we want some subtlety.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So on that second floor, there are some actual furnishings. In the corner of what seems to be a rather large salon room is, for a start, there's a kind of small, very rough bed. With some very basic bedding material and straw thrown on it, where someone has been sleeping, but it is dominated by a huge wooden table with a coat of arms depicting a jumping salmon painted in red, blue, and silver under glossy lacquer. Aside from the table and 6 armchairs around it, there is a man-high dresser against a wall. It looks old and worn, perhaps like something salvaged from an estate in Alberator. And there are, you could by all means have a look around for things wherever you like. Shall we go round? I will roll where people. I will roll for who kind of goes first and who can make a choice of where they look. So Stephen, where are you? What are you looking at first?
You said there was a cupboard, a dresser.
Yeah, there's a dresser. Yeah.
Let's go take a look in there.
That seems like a very good choice. So let's say there's an upper and a bottom drawer. Which are you going for?
In the top.
Okay, in the upper drawer of the dresser are what seem to be a collection of books. Are you going to kind of look through them in more detail, or you can just kind of register that for now and move on?
I will take a look at a couple of the spines or the covers and just see what kind of books they are.
Sure. They all seem to contain stories and accounts from the Great War. You think you could find, if you looked through them, you'd certainly find out more information about them, but that would, be you for a while the others look around. It's entirely up to you.
I'll take that first impression of it. It's military history. It's fine.
Sure.
Can I look in the other drawer, or we'll move on?
Let's move round to the next person, and that next person is Anton.
I'll have a look in the bottom drawer then.
Absolutely. In the bottom drawer are what appear to be 5 army coats. Once upon a time, they were white with yellow and red linings, but time and heavy use have made them discoloured and patched over and over. On the front, 2 symbols are sewn, the sinking sun of Prios in yellow and House Kohinoor's flaming pine in red. You have Lawmaster, yes?
I do, yeah.
The coats are typical of those who may have been worn by a group fighting for the honour of both Alberator and the Sun God. And next we have Ascarai.
I think I maybe take a look at if there's anything on the table or around the table.
Sure. You don't recognize the crest, although perhaps someone with Lawmaster might. But one thing you do notice is on 5 of the padded backs of the armchairs are embroidered monograms. The one at the short end carries the initials KS, and the others are SA, RG, ED, and IB. I'm happy to read those out again if anyone wants to note them down.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need this again.
Okay, so the one at the head of the table has KS on the back, and the others are SA, RG, ED, and IB.
You spell cargo with a K.
Yes.
Interesting.
You also spell Serix Adio with both an S and an A.
Yeah, that one.
So, Steo, what are you going to?
What's left? I was going to look at the table, but that honor was stolen from me.
I think I probably would have said out loud, does anyone recognize this crest?
And I'm perfectly happy for Anton for you to make a cunning roll to see if you can, as Ascarai says that.
I don't make it.
Okay, you do not know. Yeah, I mean, obviously you can make general searches or more specific ones. It's up to you, but that seems to be most of it. I don't think the books haven't been rooted through thoroughly, but they do seem to be just war stories.
Well, given that's kind of my only specialty, and given I don't want to be the first one going up to the third story, I think I will flip through them. Sure.
Well, if you're making a more concerted look at them, let's say that Steo stood over at the side, having taken maybe the books off Elindra or a couple of books off Elindra. You look through them. A great many of them seem to be centered around the doings and actions of a squad of petty nobles who, though they weren't priests themselves, worked together with the armoured section of the Sun Church near the end of the war. The leader of the squad was called Kargoy Salamos, and after having browsed the book for a while, two other names stand out: the brothers Cerex and Heracleo Attio. You were not aware they are brothers. Heracleo Attio is the key master of Indaros. He is a very high-ranking man in the Ambrian government. Apparently, he's Cerex's brother. He seems to be doing a lot better than his brother in the world. The books are essentially a chronicle of the feats of this squad of people. If Ascarai mentions those initials, I am more than happy to tell you who the initials describe the other people. If you want to put 1, 2, and 2 together, if Steo says anything, if Ascarai says anything, etc.
I'm going to pipe up and go, okay, so did you know Cerex's brother is Heracleo? I suppose it makes sense now. The Keymaster, the Indaros, that's government. That's like imperial level. And there was 5 of them. Like swashbuckling. How come I never heard about this back in the day?
Who were the others?
Do their names match these initials? There's some on all the chairs.
3 other names within these tomes, Chris, who appear frequently, are Roya Galaka, Ephrin Dressel, and Isedra Baraka. Yes, in other words.
We're going to need those in Discord a little later. If that's
sure,
okay, please,
yeah,
Matt.
that's fine.
So, some kind of fraternity of swashbuckling nobles.
Typical Ambrians.
Is anyone doing anything else around this room?
I'll ask, kind of nod to Ascarai and point. There's another floor above this, isn't there?
There is another floor above this as well, yeah.
I'll take a look around the bed. You said there's a bed in here.
I forgot about the bed.
There is indeed a bed there. You take a concerted look around it and find absolutely nothing. Just a very bare bones bed that someone's been sleeping in. Presumably the Black Cloak. Being as I think the sellsword you interrogated said that he stays there. I think he said that. If not, I guess I've given you information for free. Either way.
I guess it makes more sense as an assumption that it's the Black Cloak than it being like one of the sellswords or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the base of operations. So, okay, so we have a war band.
We have one more flight of stairs. Ascarai, if you want to.
All right.
I will cut out further suspense and say that the top floor is much like the bottom floor. It is a large open attic area with no furnishings, it's empty.
Right, let's get out of here, nice and quick.
Steo, before we go, could you give my wounds some attention?
Oh, sorry. I am not.
Being as you stabbed him.
Well, I just held the spear. Someone else was doing the wibbly wobbly. I believe that's a cunning, isn't it, Medicus?
Yeah,
yes.
it is
Test
cunning.
on cunning, so 10 or less. 9. I will use a herbal cure here, so that's 1d6. 5.
Nice. As I usually hand wave these things off, clearly the wounds weren't as bad as they felt. It's all fine. And Tom is quite patched up. where are we going, folks? What's happening now? You leave the building kind of as quietly as you can. I assume we're kind of trying to make the door look like it's properly on its hinges and just kind of secreting it as well as possible.
What time is it approximately?
I'd say you're probably around midnight.
Let's not do anything else sketchy this evening.
Are we going to recover? Okay.
Is it worth going somewhere where we're a little bit more difficult to be found? Because we have had a bit of a run-in with someone who specifically told us not to do the very thing that we just did.
Well, we've left no witnesses.
It's not going to take much for him to join the dots if he hears of 4 corpses being found in this building.
Does he know that we're at the Witch and Familiar? Do we need to move to a different inn?
I'm not moving to a different inn.
My list of things to do included go to the Witch and Familiar to see if that mystery woman finally tracks us down there and stops trying to send people to murder us. So
yeah, I suppose we should probably call in. Plus, there might be a queue of people trying to murder us after tonight.
Well, exactly. We've
just waiting there for you.
I'm going home.
Oh no, after you. You were here first.
I'm going to sleep at the Witch and Familiar. If Sir Exatio wants to come and try and kill us, fine.
Sure. So sounds like we're heading back to the Witch and Familiar. Are you having like a conversation once you're there, or are you like spending the night first and then sort of reconvening in the morning?
We might have a nightcap if anyone wants to talk anything over before bed, but I suppose I'll be leaving shortly afterwards to go back to my hovel.
Do we want to have it feels like we should have a discussion now, because I feel just like we were like I think in the beginning of last session, you now have these options in front of you, right? And we've got to talk about what's happening there, and it might be worth just going over them if nothing else. So if nothing else, we want to have a conversation where you guys talk about what your options are, so I can remind you of any you've forgotten.
That's a superb idea. Mystery helpful ghost.
Thanks, voices in my head. So, I guess tomorrow we're going back to the church.
We're going back to the church for a couple of reasons, right? Because we can talk to Lightbringer and tell her tonight, but also we can talk about the what was the name of the
Arkle?
Other priest, Arkle. Yeah, and we could try and find out information about Arkle, and they need to maybe know about that if they weren't aware of that already.
Plus, we should try and cash in and get access to to Anadea's bits. I think we've done enough
assuming that DeSabre agrees, of course, because she did say avert the threat.
We have
and
options.
If you feel you haven't averted the threat, let's see how she feels.
We have options if she.
Yeah. Like, we've got work to do. So we still have the key without the door, and we still have whatever we find in Anadea's room.
For the key, we're waiting for word from.
You're waiting for your appointment with the legate, I believe.
No,
your only other option with the key was to talk to Nightpitch, who has the other, like, because the whatever it's called, the like ledger of local stuff. I believe you found. Like, I'm now doubting that you actually did find that out. But like, am I right in saying that you were told that one copy is with the legate and one copy is with Nightpitch?
Yes, I didn't recall filing that away under we're not going to get a meeting with Nightpitch yet.
Sure. Yeah.
The key without a door. Like, we could maybe pull some strings with the church and maybe get the legates to help us with both that and getting an official trace on that property and the transactions around it. It was made pretty clear by the page in the archives that if we wanted property transactions, it's going to require some more privilege than just a thaler in a donation box.
I suppose it wouldn't hurt to confirm, but I think we all know who owns that house and who is behind those Cell Swords of the Sun.
you wouldn't be a great detective. We've got evidence, but no confirmation.
It's worth noting that if you want to locate, for example, where to find Cargo Salamos, like, you don't know offhand where he lives, but he's a local noble. Like, the information would be extremely easy to find by asking around.
Yeah.
I just want to note that, you know.
I've already had a run-in with one noble this week,
Sure.
I think. And reticent to go around accusing anyone else.
Have I ever heard in Thistlehold of the other nobles mentioned being in town?
You know who you have? Well, why don't you give me a cunning roll? And you know what? You can take a +3 to it.
Okay. I think I need a 13. I got an 18. So no.
So no.
So-
but you know, Steo can roll that as well if you
Yeah, I
want.
was going to say contacts Thistlehold, please.
Oh, you have got contacts Thistlehold.
I do.
Oh, then yeah, it's fine. I'll just tell you. Yeah, Roya Galaka. She is a fairly well-known drinking buddy of Serix Atio. You're not sure if she's in the agency or not, but she has a slightly dangerous reputation.
Yeah, Roya is another one of Serix's drinking buddies, a dangerous lady. It seems like we found this bunch of adventurers and potentially the owners of the house. And potentially a can of poisonous worms.
What do they want with Sarvola?
Adventure, maybe? I don't know.
Adventure?
Yeah, do you know, like having someone evil to fight.
Firebombing an old priest?
Well,
I don't.
then
After today, I'm not the best person to psychoanalyze nobles. God knows what they want.
to me,
Are they
they're nobles. Savola
they
helps the
pious?
poor. I think they're both fanatics and not a fan of a member of the church helping the poor in the way that Savola does. They're nobles. They're
This is about keeping
Ambrian
themselves
scum.
comfortable.
Ascarai said that, but let's have Steo and Anton make a cunning roll. Just because you've been in close proximity to Serix Atio recently. Just because Ascarai's putting something out there, and I just wanted to see if you might.
I don't make it.
3.
Yeah. Serix Atio is many things: a drunkard, a warrior, a violent threat to life and limb. He is definitely not. He referred to Father Elfano as a dry-groined prick. He is not a fanatic. He's probably barely religious.
Contrary to the point I've just made, look, Serix Atio has no love for the church. I don't even want to say, but I think it's more likely there's another party involved. But I definitely think our next step is to try and disentangle ourselves from this, because this is politics. And we're already at risk of Serix deciding that we are the people causing them trouble. Because let's face it, we kind of are.
We are. We've stumbled upon a drinking club of war heroes, and all that implies, who for some reason have hired a black cloak or have retained the services of a black cloak in order to attack an excommunicated priest, and we've been sent to investigate by the church, and this is why I didn't want to get involved.
Yeah. Disentangle, I think.
That's it. We just need to convince Lightbringer that we've done what she wanted us to do.
If she wants a scalpel to unpick this controversy, she shouldn't hire us.
How quickly Anton has lost his faith in meeting a living saint and being given a holy crusade.
She didn't really give me a holy crusade.
All it took was
She
having
said,
a
if you
sword
want
waved
this,
at him.
do that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. I'm just amused by your moment when you first encounter her, like falling to your knees, and she's like, "I give you this mission," and you're like, "It's pretty much done."
Close enough.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Mike.
I usually just muted myself to speak. I don't know why
Yeah,
I did that.
I didn't know it's because you went and then just nothing.
I was just going to say, it turns out that meeting a priest wasn't some like incredible, like higher calling experience. It's just like every other fucker in this town, and just gives you missions that
Gives
are
you a
going to
side
get you
quest.
killed.
For might I add, the worst pay we have had since starting. Like, you can get into this room if you do us a solid by protecting this high-profile political target. No, bedtime.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So it sounds to me like I'm trying to think if you had any other leads that you haven't followed. I'm not sure. Like, there's various other things. Like, oh, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, we absolutely have the archives at the Ordo Magica and the matter of the large hole in Thistlehold.
There is that.
Thistlehold, if you will.
You also did speak once to the witches outside, and I would also I'm not adding these as leads that you need to chase up right now. I just want things that have happened to be for us to recall them. Obviously, you were lured into an alien attack. Someone seems to be looking for you via various means, and I believe also when you came out of the sinkhole the first time, some Ascarai maybe saw that you were being observed by oh god, a character whose first name I've forgotten. Golden Grasp. Something Golden Grasp. Lyra?
Did we get the name? I don't think we got the name. Red-haired lady, wasn't it?
Lysindra.
Yeah, Lysindra Golden Grasp. Because she's fairly well known.
And maybe someone mentioned this already, but the note from Anadea from Tiana as well.
Yeah.
Which we haven't fully investigated yet.
No. There's a lot going on, is what we're saying. But it sounds to me like the thing you want to do in the morning is go to the Sun Temple and try your luck at saying you've finished. And also just ask about Arkel. Is that the idea? Yeah. Okay. That seems valid. Well, you know what? The night goes by without a drunken monster battering his way into anyone's room and trying to carve them up, and that's got to be a success. So everyone can recover 1 toughness if you're missing any. And you meet up in the morning. I'm going to presume kind of at the Sun Temple, which is obviously in the same state it was before. There's still a lot of people in the light yard kind of seeking consolation and advice and the like. Are we talking to anyone about Arkle first, or are we trying to make our way straight to Deceiver or Father Elfano, or what are we doing?
I think
Anton will be getting pushed to the front of the group for this one.
Yeah.
I think Lightbringer first, right? That's the most pressing thing. The threat on Father Savoda's life, which we definitely 100% averted. So
yep.
We'll make that case to her.
Sure. So you make your way to the kind of over to a door on the side of the light yard where there is a Templar standing outside. She kind of takes a look at the 4 of you as you walk up and takes kind of a pace forward and addresses directly to Anton, saying, "You are here to see the Lightbringer?" You're on mute.
Yes, we're here to see Her Holiness.
Why did you pause for so long, Father? What ails you? No.
Let's just put that down to Anton having like broken, swollen nose.
Oh, yeah, just Lightbringer, please. Yeah, I don't know what that voice was. I'm a professional, you know. Exactly the same as Critical Role. Do all the voices. So you go up to the Templar. She already seems to know who you are. She nods and kind of waves you in. On the inside, you see that there are another kind of couple of Templars. You know what though? Give me Elindra and Anton. Give me a cunning roll, please. And Elindra, you can take a +1 for it as well.
Lovely. That is a 1.
Nice.
This is a major temple at a major settlement. There are remarkably few Templars here. Normally, you'd have like a squad protecting, like out patrolling out in the light yard. There's just not that many Templars. That's all. Seems odd. you proceed through the interior of the Temple of the Sun, up those stairs, up again until you're in that shining copper dome where the Templar kind of walks forward, clears her throat, and you hear Deceba's voice from behind those. She has kind of screens, right, separating her off from the stairway up, and you hear her go, "Ah," and kind of shuffle out and peer over at you and blink a couple of times. It's quite dim light in here, and says, "Oh, my little worker ants. Come on, sit down." She turns and goes. The Templar kind of looks a bit confused and takes a step forward, and she goes, "No, no, 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 no." And the Templar walks back down the stairs, kind of looking over her shoulder a bit. You know, you're not the most upmarket looking group, especially with Anton with like crusted blood. Well, maybe you've washed your face. I can imagine that you might have washed your face.
Definitely
You
don't
retcon
want
it,
you
so
know,
I
so-
did. Rather than embarrassing myself in front of a living
Sure,
saint.
Oh, she's a living saint now. So you walk over and settle around that table she had before. She kind of waits for you all to sit, and then sits down herself and sort of taps her hands on the table and says, "So, what have we found?"
Your Holiness, you must have heard about the attack on the mission house yesterday.
I did.
Quite an alarming turn of events, but we were there to intervene, shall we say, myself and my friend Alindra here, and we found some information about the attack and who made it. A group calling themselves Sellswords of the... Is that right? Sellswords of the Sun?
Yeah,
Sellswords of the Sun.
Led by a black cloak based in a property in Thistlehold. And we were able to investigate that a little bit further. And also there was some funding behind this group, but the person that we interrogated wasn't aware of exactly who that was. We then found a connection to Kargai Salamos, and
Her eyebrows raise at this.
yes, we believe that he owns the property that this group is based from. And then we had a brief confrontation with Sir Exatio as well, who seemed to be involved. It was quite an unpleasant and alarming turn of events. He seemed to know that the church was on top of this investigation. He seemed to know that the actions of his group were being scrutinized by the church. Anyway, the next thing that happened was that we went to the property and killed the Black Cloak and some sellswords who were part of that group. And we believe the threat to have been averted. And we do have some more information on who was financing this, but the immediate threat on Father Savola's life is thankfully eliminated.
It sounds to me as though the leader of this group is still at large.
The leader of the attack we believe to be the Black Cloak. It was.
Oh yes. If he's being funded by Kargai Salamos and Kargai Salamos was providing some kind of headquarters for the group, surely that is the man we need to address. No.
You would like us to kill Kargai Salamas?
I would like you to avert the threat.
Kargai Salamas no longer has his Black Cloak contact, and the Black Cloak can no longer command the remaining sellswords of the Sun. How much blood needs to be shed to save this one man?
I do not wish any more blood to be shed. There are more ways of addressing this problem than killing Kargai Salamos. Would you not agree? Why is this man doing this? He is not especially faithful, as far as I know. He's a military man. Why is he doing this? Could he be persuaded to cease? Is there a reason, my children, that you have distaste for seeing this job through to the end?
My lady, if you wish a diplomatic solution to the situation, we may not be the best group to address that. That said, we do have some other avenues of investigation we can fill out, but they would require higher level access to the archives than we currently have.
Why?
We would need to speak to the legate because we need to confirm this house's direct connection to Cargoy and that it has not changed hands. And we also need to look in to those related matters.
Very well. I can put in a word with the legate. Yes, very well. Was there anything else?
We will continue to do the church's bidding in this matter, Your Holiness, but there are some things that have also come to our attention which I wanted to ask about. Are you familiar with an individual called Arkle, priest of this church?
I am an initiate. Close friends with Anadea.
We got wind of a quarrel between Arkle and Anadea in a drinking establishment in Thistlehold. We heard that this escalated with the dispute ending in a threat to the life of the First Father. I wanted to make sure that you were aware of this.
Well, I find that the latter part of that somewhat hard to believe. I do not think that Anadea or Arkle would spout such aggressive words, no matter their frustration with the First Father. It occurs to me, John, can we have a picture of Deceiver up while we're having this conversation? Arkle is no longer an initiate here. He also has left.
May I ask why he left and if we know where he has gone?
Indeed. A few days after Anadea left us, Arkle got word that his father had died. His family owns a farmhouse in Glimmervan, and he decided that looking after them came before his duties here to Prios. An understandable decision. He left for Glimmervan.
Okay. Thank you for your information there, Your Holiness.
For the purposes, because I know, like, for example, Stephen probably isn't aware, Glimmervan is about a day's travel away to the west.
Okay.
There's a kind of sort of small trading village. Is there anything else?
The matter of our... Would it be possible for us to take a look at the affairs of Anadea now? We're concerned that we may be on a tight timer with regards to whatever corruption may be ravaging this town.
Why don't you give me a persuasive roll? And you know what? You can take a +2 to that, Chris.
This is the start of the new day, so this is my +1 or -1 for the day because of elderly, and I need to hit a 9 or less.
And that's the roll before you're making the persuasive roll, right?
No, this is it's the result of the first roll of the day.
Oh, okay,
I
see.
Success, it's +1 to all subsequent rolls.
Yeah.
Failure, -1 to all subsequent rolls. Let's find out. It's a critical failure.
I'm happy allowing one other person to make a roll. I don't want everyone to go, oh please, but I'm happy for someone. She kind of starts to look very skeptical and starts to shake her head. Does anyone else want to leap in and try and make the roll that Steo just failed?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. Persuasive, and you know what? You can take a +3 because she likes you. She doesn't dislike Steo. He's a priest.
I need. Where are we? Yeah, I needed the +3. I make it.
You make it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell me how you do this. She's kind of looking skeptical and starting to shake her head. You tell me what golden words Anton drops to persuade her of this.
Well, I think that Your Holiness, we have grave concerns about the bigger threat to Thistlehold right now, and the lives that were lost, and we believe this all to be connected. Your task that you've given us, and Anadea's part in what is going on as well, the threat that she warned us of, and we will give your task of averting the threat to Father Savola our full attention. But as I say, we think that these things are linked, and any information that we can find out would be worthwhile, and it will simply take us a matter of minutes to investigate that, and then we can continue with the good work that you have set us.
Saber kind of takes a moment in silence, pushes her chair back from the table a little bit with a creak, stands up, and probably still slightly below all of you sitting around the table, because she's a very short old woman, and says, "You are lucky to have the golden tongue of this young priest here. Follow me. But I say this, I and the temple will not be impressed if you do not follow through on our bargain."
We do not intend to disappoint you, Lightbringer.
Good. Come on. She kind of waves and leads you down the stairs of the Sun Temple, around to the annex. You're walking through an area now where there are a couple of Templars around again, but there's also quite a number of initiates and other theurgs who glance at you curiously, being led around by the diminutive figure of the Lightbringer, who you end up on a long corridor of very small alcoves that have very limited kind of living space within them. You come to one that looks like it has a slight layer of dust over everything, whereas all the others are very clean. The alcove is no more than a couple of paces deep and less than that in width. There is a bunk bed, a closet, a simple commode, and a trunk for storing private belongings, which takes up almost the entire space of the alcove. She waves at it and goes, "Anadea's chamber, such as it was. I will leave you to examine it at your leisure." She waves over for a Templar to kind of stand nearby and make sure you don't set fire to the place or something. And then gives you, Anton, a nod that has a certain level of sternness to it, but not unkind. And then turns and walks off, and you have access to Anadea's chamber. And on that note, on that cliffhanger, we will leave the session this week, I think. So if you've got any comments or questions, sling them in chat and we'll address them here. In the meantime, let me do my little bit of promo. Down below, loads of links, YouTube and Twitch. You've watched this on one, why not check out the other? There's links to our social media, to our Discord, and to our Patreon that all do the things that those things do. We run 3 weekly campaign streams. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu, Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark, and Wednesdays is Symbaroum. We also run monthly one-shots on the first Saturday of every month. The next one of those is this Saturday, which starts at 3:00 p.m. BST. Obviously, adapt that for your own time zone. We'll be playing Wanderhome, which is a lovely little pastoral fantasy, whimsical wholesomeness of an RPG. I'll be playing that, as will Holly and Sky, and playing and also guiding us along the way in a sort of soft GM role will be this guy right here, Chris, who advocated for this system extremely hard and got his wish. You too can achieve things if you try them, kids. We hope it's not terrible. So there we go. Thank you again for the subscriptions from John Zouch and Painful DM. Thank you for the follow from Relation WTIV. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you anyway. Have we got any stuffs in chats? Azimuth, how bruised are the party feeling, and are they evaluating other methods of conflict resolution? I mean, ones that don't involve firing arrows into the backs of their party mates, I would assume.
Theo's fairly shook. Like it's not the backstabbing. I'm used to that. But it's kind of the nobility class solidarity angle that's kind of shook Steo, who kind of assumes that everyone wants Thistlehold to survive as much as he does, and that loyalty to the town kind of supersedes loyalty to kind of class and creed, has been kind of demolished. As foolish as it was to have in the first place.
I just like... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, my main wish from all of this is that I'd had the presence of mind to stab Ascarai before Ascarai shot Steo, although presumably Ascarai was only doing that in an attempt to stop him from stabbing. Yeah,
that master acrobatics is something
disgusting.
Else, isn't it? Yeah,
it's disgusting.
That combined with the master feint to get like two. The master feint is something we could see Ascarai having at some point.
The thing is, that sword I picked up, my feint ability, it works with weapons that have the precise quality.
Ooh.
Which is why I thought maybe this could be better than a dagger.
Swap it out for your dagger, absolutely. Yeah. It could be good.
About conflict resolution, I love the idea that we've just been told to try like a diplomatic solution. When literally before we mentioned the name Cargo Salamas to his friend, and he nearly killed us. I don't know how.
I take umbrage with that. You just mentioned his name.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure you gave him the light version of what was going on and said that it might be agency business and stuff like that.
We didn't say where can we find Cargo Syllabus? We're gonna kill him. We're gonna
sure.
We're just hey, we're looking into Cargo Syllabus. We think he might be involved with something. We didn't even know, and we still got
But I would say, talking to Serix Attio about these things in terms of diplomacy is probably quite different to talking to literally anyone else about these things. So
it was still we tried talking. That didn't work. I'm an ex-Templar. Like Elindra's literally only trained in one method of conflict resolution.
Sure. Well, we will see what occurs with that. Is there anything else from chat, John?
Oh my god.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the switch because it's also Azimuth. Could you, as a player, try to feint an attack to draw out that master acrobatics ability and nullify it? Maybe a deception roll or something.
Stacking home.
No, I don't think so, because then that just neutralizes the ability with a No, I don't think so. No. It's just their choice when to use it a turn. I just used it for the first one every turn.
I think there's something to be said for as a general rule, the more powerful your players get in any role-playing game, the more sketchy the rules interactions become because of the power ramp.
Yeah, they will be. But no, I don't think so. Otherwise it's no. Lord Malice, good to see you. Lots of 1s and 20s, very extreme rolling. There was. Yeah, I noticed that.
You could say that's how we roll. That's my second really good pun of the night.
It is, and we didn't do the other one on stream, so I would just like to say that before we started, Do you want to do it, Chris, or are you going to make me do it?
This is actually the third one because there's a second one I did on stream. But yeah, the first one was we were discussing how we might approach the situation with me being pinned to the wall by Serix, and someone was saying you have to dig yourself out of this hole, and I was like, you missed the zinger there because it's trying to dig yourself out of the Serix Atty hole. Calls for laughter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't do anything about him. I've tried. Folks, I've tried.
He's Chris and there is no cure.
Yeah, there's just, you got to face up to these things sooner or later. Electro Druid. That's someone we know. I don't like it when Matt makes rolls. Neither do I.
No.
It's meant to be a GM-less, like a roll-less GM game, but every now and then it's just like, oh, the enemy has to roll this, and you're like, where's this roll-less GMing, huh? Symbaroum.
Is the assumption that you just make a decision as to whether or not it procs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I want to, rely on the system to do that. I think the answer that people give is just make you guys do it. But it's quicker to just do it than ask you to do it. So
I assume that's what the rule book says, that you kind of make the players make the rolls even if they don't know what they're making.
Yeah.
Like, I see why you do it, but it's like every time I hear the kind of dice clatter on the table, it's never a good thing.
No, it's not. It's usually the only things I roll for is like if an ability of theirs requires a roll to see if it procs or not. That's what I'm doing. So it's something bad happening almost always.
For me, it's not the roll. It's when Matt starts like smiling and laughing. Like it's definitely what I know. You're not
I
a
can't
GM
believe
who's
you
like
literally
against the
down
players.
Steo. I can't believe literally you're running in there and Steo just goes and keels over with an arrow in his back. That was boy, that was something else.
I honestly felt like you kind of transferring unspent darkness points over from Coriolis.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was the moment when I thought that you were going to make Ascarai put a second arrow into Steo.
Yeah.
While he was on the ground, just kind of walk up and thump.
Yeah, I wish I could have, but
I did ask before I shut the second one. I didn't want to just keep shooting Steo as I was trying to shoot them.
I don't always get what I want, and it's just it's the pain of existence. Anything else, John? Are we good? I think we're good. Lovely. So thank you so much for my wonderful players. Thank you to everyone watching, and thank you to John for an excellent job of stream managing as always. We will catch you next week for the next installation of Symbaroum. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.